Hey guys, Ryan Gutshot All in Welch, back with a new video series for you guys. Something a little bit different, something that I haven't quite done. I've done a little bit of on iPoker and some of the other sites for, as far as just like live kind of cash videos. I think maybe there's one or two that I've done, but since I'm actually in Canada still, I want to be able to get some footage down of cash besides or cash on Pokerstars, which is kind of the granddaddy of them all. So I picked the Zoom 1-2 PLO game to fire off 3 tables today. Just put a fourth table up so we can review any interesting spots to go down. But basically, just gonna kind of go through, start running hands, and just kind of talking through and seeing what my thought process is and how I approach these Zoom games, which I can honestly say I don't have a large sample, just because I just am not always out of the country to be able to play stars and play cash for that matter. Um, but I do feel pretty comfortable with my 100 to 200 big blind PLOs game. Deeper than that, there's still a lot of spots that I'm not completely comfortable with when it comes to PLO, just from lack of experience, basically. But I've played a lot of hands with the 100 big blind, 200 big blind, so I feel really comfortable there. The only thing that's a little bit different here is I do run a HUD. However, the computer I have here is a Macintosh, an Apple, so it does not allow the heads-up display to actually run on Zoom. You need a PC to do that, I believe. So yeah. So I'm gonna be just basically it'll keep track of like the actual hands, but it doesn't do the heads-up displays. So it's a little bit of a different thing. I'm actually gonna try soon to just buy another PC and and start to try to run it next time I'm in Canada, so I can get a entire HUD going, because I think it's a big um, disadvantage. Basically, I think a lot of people have HUDs and are able to pick up a lot of stuff that I cannot see. So without further ado, we'll just go ahead and jump right into the action and just kind of sit in, and we'll zoom away for I hope to probably get maybe uh, about 30-40 minutes of play in, and then just pause, and then we'll stop, and then if it's going well, we can try to maybe get a second part in. So we'll just kind of hop right into the action right now. All right, first hand we get a double suited, kind of a trash hand for the most part, but we do have a nut suit and a pair, and the big blind getting over 2 to 1 to defend. So this is a hand I will defend in the big blind. I will defend my big blind pretty wide, especially to late position opens. If this were not double suited, I would probably just fold. But we flop an airball here, and I will be folding. Top right is a pretty trash hand. It's got some connectivity to it, but being out of position in multi-ways, it's just not going to play that well. So I decide to fold. Ace Queen 4-9 from small blind. That is a hand I would probably defend from a button open, possibly even 3-bet sometimes. Ace 7 Queen 10. This is close. I probably will defend this here in the cutoff. Being in position, and out of position, I will fold. Alright, so we flop top pair. That's about it. We don't really have any backdoor draws. Assume our 7's a little dirty because it brings straights. Our queen and our ace are pretty solid outs. I'm just going to bet for protection in this spot. I have to bet call versus withheld. Top left, I will be just defending this pretty good hand. I could 3-bet this sometimes, but it plays pretty well multi-way when I flop sets or nut flush draw, and it's going to basically come down to me 3-betting and then getting called by all of them out of position, having a big pot with a hand that doesn't really flop that well. A lot of the times it's going to flop, it's going to be 2 overcards with a king or a queen. Even when I hit an ace, I don't really have much to go with it unless I hit it a 5 or a jack. So I'll just play it passively. Top right, that's a fold. Yeah, I'll try to just basically like just show you what a lot of my right ranges are going to be. Without the HUD, it's a little tough because some people are obviously a lot more loose, but I'm just not that familiar with the player pool. So here in the big blind, the button opens to 7. I have 8, 5, 9, 5. This is close because he is short. He doesn't really have that much. I'm probably just gonna fold this. If he had a full stack, it would be one thing. See here, I can't really even defend this. I only have a jack high flush on the turn with a straight being out there, so I'm not even gonna try to chase that down. Big thing about PLO, you want to be like basically chasing nut hands. Um, you know, you don't want to be always chasing jack high flushes and etc. So here, this guy raises, and we just have bottom 2 here with someone that's pretty short, so I'm just gonna raise and get this in on a very dry board. Now we have 3 pairs, so I mean it's just going in. So, all right, so we get really unlucky there. We did have him beat down pretty good, but he turned a gut shot with his deuce, so we double up a small short stack. Here we flop top 2, and we have a backdoor flush draw. Most likely be check raising this flop. Our sizing, I'm just trying to get my sizing right here. Yeah, that seems about right. Under the gun, I will be opening to 3 to pot and then cut off and button normally 2.5x to min raise. So take down that board. This is a board that doesn't really hit me that well, but it shouldn't hit him that well either unless he has. I'm just going to see bet fold here. I do have some barrel cards like that one. That now I have a flush draw. The most obvious straight gets there. I do block it with 1/8. So I probably am just going to go ahead and just have to bet call it off here with the flush draw and a blocker. So he just calls again. I mean, now I just kind of have to hope that he has a miss flush and he will fold, which he does. When he doesn't go all in on the turn, he just really doesn't have the nuts there, unless it's just like the nuts with like a massive redraw. So I expect him to call with a flush draw and sometimes just fold river, which is luckily what happened. Pretty trashy hand top right. We'll just table 1, table 2, and table 3. So that'll probably be easier for me. Fold on table 1, table 2. That's definitely gonna be a fold. I will defend this trashy double suited hand. Just like I said, it's the big blind getting good odds. It's hard to really play that bad. We flop middle pair with basically nothing else. No backdoor flush draw. He bets very small. Nah, I'm still just gonna fold. I have that. We flop bottom pair, backdoor flush draw here, and I will just continuation bet this versus the big blind. The turn is decent. We turn a flush draw with our pair of 2s. This is close because I don't really know if he's gonna fold a king, but I do think we can get him to fold some flush draws and maybe some hands like queens. Alright, so now we just kind of have to give up. Expect him to show up with a lot of flushes here. Alright, so he did just have top pair and a king, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Here we have 10s with a gutter. We kind of just have to bet for protection here. There's some value in some straight draws, some 9-10x. We do block the 10s though, so turn's good. Turn's obviously gin for us. We'll just continue by betting. Hopefully he has some kind of Jack 9 combo, 6-9. but he folds. We'll defend the big blind with this hand. Flop a gut shot and bottom pair, but on this board texture, it's just a fold. That player R Smig, I believe, is very loose. Likes to 3-bet a lot. Remember him from previous times playing. King 6, 5, 8 in the big blind. Nah, I'll just fold. Table 1, we've got a pretty good hand, Queen Jack 9, 9 double. We flop a Queen High flush draw and a pair of 9s. I actually don't mind in the spot, just going for a check. My hand's got plenty of equity. I don't really feel any need to bluff. On this turn, I'm just gonna bet. Table 3, just gonna go ahead and open. Purple K plays a ton of Zoom. Used to be a big time MCT grinder. This board shouldn't really hit him that often. I don't really have... This is a spot where I've been working on just doing some different check raises. I don't really have much equity here, but it just doesn't hit his range that much, so I'm going to try. And then I'm just definitely just going to barrel like I had the nut flush draw. I think that's a lot of my range is going to be nut flush draw. So here, this is an interesting hand. I open. I flop 2 pair with the king high blocker. I'm just going to bet mostly for protection, maybe a little bit of value. Sometimes some straight draws might call. The turn's a 7. He's only got $62, so this is close. I don't really know if he's going to fold a flush with this type of stack size. So I'm just going to hope to get it to showdown now at this point. And probably get shown a flush, which I do. I'm going to mix in a 3-bet here with 8-6, 10-6. All right, that's not ideal to go 3 ways. So we flop bottom 2 here. And this is close. 3 ways. I'm actually just going to check. I get blasted off a lot. And I will be checking most of my 3-betting range anyway on this board texture. Unfortunately, I probably just have to fold. Bottom left, I'll defend this, getting pretty awesome odds. On table 3, or table 2, we actually get a good turn, and on table 1, this is obviously just a 4-bet with our premium aces. So we will just bet. And with less than pot behind, yeah, we're not going to fold. He's just going to have too many flush draws. And unfortunately, he hits both of them. And then we get folds on table 2, unfortunately. Yeah, on table 1, he's just, when he jams into me, he's just going to, I mean, we're slightly behind there because he does have the pair and the gutter with the flush draw, but with the stack to pot ratio that low, I'm just not folding aces. He can just have dry flush draws as well there, which I have to call versus. It's just a board that doesn't hit my range that well, so you can attack it pretty light. Here we're getting squeezed again by Saint DG Jog. We have a good hand. C-bet on table 1. We'll open on table 2. I'm just going to call this. Definitely not going to fold. I definitely can be ahead sometimes. Here we flop a pair and a queen high flush draw. Here we have top pair and the ace high blocker and a straight on table 1. So we will start with a call. And I'm probably just going to rip this here, or someone whose range is very wide. And we will be getting this in with a redraw. Table 2, this is tricky. I'll lead by calling again. It's strange. I don't know what he can actually have here. Now that he checks river, I feel like he may have gotten there with some kind of like king, queen, jack 10. Maybe a set of 2s or 3s is possible too. But no, he just has the just the dry flush draw, which I said is a nice hand to be able to show down and win versus. So the pool must be a little short today. We have a little bit of delay in between. Yeah, this is an adjustment for me as far as being able to play these 3 tables and talk. So if I go into a little bit of a lull, just bear with me. I'm trying. This is close. A little bit too light for under the gun. I would definitely open that and cut off hijack. This is big blind. I'm just defending a pair and a nut flush draw on the big. We get a tremendous flop with middle set and a nut flush draw. Bet for value. Here we flop top pair and a gutter. On this turn, the snap check back seems somewhat weak to me. I do have the 10 of diamonds blocker, so I will just go ahead and bet. Here I'm just going to bet. He looks pretty weak on a check back again. I have a pair of 10s and a flush draw. I can get some value from maybe some straight draws. Maybe fold out some possibly better pairs. Here I'm actually going to check. His range is going to be so wide in the big blind that I want him to actually stab. Now that an ace turns, we'll see if I can get him to stab that. He does. I'm going to go ahead and call and then check river to him. Most likely he doesn't really have much of a hand, so we can actually, he just had, yeah, just king high, so we definitely get the most value by checking twice there when he's drawing dead. At least we get him $8 out of him. Table 3, I will 3-bet this to a cutoff open, but he folds, so we'll just open ourselves. Flatted by the small. Alright, so we flop a wrap with a jack high spade blocker. This is close. I'm just going to go ahead and bet. Maybe get him off some pair of 10s. Maybe in a random king once in a while. These queens are too raggedy on table 2. I'll just fold. I'm going to bet the turn again just for kind of showdown and protection. Maybe he has a set 2 pair. It's close. I can also, I mix between checking back there as well. Table 2 with a pair of kings here. Yeah, I'm just going to squeeze. We'll limp, mix in a limping range. Flop an open ender and a flush draw. I'm going to start with a check here. Well, we have an overpair and we have an open ender, but we have no spades. I'm going to start with a check. The board, just I'm going to be checking the majority of my range here on this board texture. So I'd like to balance. So on this turn, I'm going to go ahead and just bet a little bit for value. And they both fold, so that's a fine result. Mostly a protection bet there. I don't think anything better folds, obviously, but it is to protect versus flush draws and straight draws that I don't have. I will actually fold this hand to an open. It's just too raggedy. I defend my big blind pretty wide, but that's little doing. This being out of position, 3 ways, 4, 5, 6, 2. I think I can defend this. We flop what normally would flop, which is a nice shitty back bottom pair. Top table 1, we have a pair and an open ender, so I will just go ahead and bet. I will fold on table 3. Turn, we turn a flush draw, and now we have the nut open ender here. So 7 or queen gives us the nuts, spade. So I think this is a spot where we can just easily just barrel and call off. Maximize fold equity. We'll open up this hand from the cutoff. I'll open up this hand from the small blind. I will fold this hand. See, these are hands that they look like decent, like, you know, they're double suited, but what happens is they just make a lot of really marginal hands, and that's really not what you want in six-handed PLO. This is pretty loose under the gun, but whatever. At least I get some board coverage from my under the gun range, so I don't always miss when it comes, you know. I'm not always capped at ace 2 when it comes 2-3 or 2-3-5 or 3-5 deuce with ace 4. All right, so here we get a 3-bet on table 1, and everyone and their mom decides to call. I will just bet on table 3 with 2 pair and the 8 blockers. So we get a lot of action here. So we're going to defend on table 1, obviously. We're definitely going to defend on table 2. And probably defend here on table 3 as well. Just 4 ways here with my hand. It's a great flop for me, but I just, you know, I'm dead to a flush already. So, yeah, this sucks. I have to fold here. This sucks because I have a set here, but I'm probably losing most of the time. Although a lot of my range when I bet call this for does look like diamonds, but I just don't think I want to turn this into a bluff. He can just have some random bluffs. So he did. He just had a... Actually, no, he actually did flop a straight. So here on this dry board, I decide to peel one with some backdoor potential. I do whiff. Let's just make sure. I'm pretty sure he had 6-9 on 10-7-8. Let me see. No, he was just bluffing with 6 blockers, I guess. I have to fold on here on table 2. So yeah, I mean, we had the best hand, so we just get unlucky that the turn is an 8. Other than that, we win this pot a lot. So that's fine. I could rebluff the flop by just like 3-betting, but I think just having 2 pair with it, you know, I just have enough value, and I can just safely play my hand and feel pretty comfortable at having the best hand. I'm defending pretty trashy hand here. I will float this sometimes. I'm actually going to float here and see how that works out. We actually turn a really good card. We turn a wrap. So I might even try to check raise this. Yeah, I'm just going to bet big like I have a 7. Wow, he just calls me with a random king. So I don't know what he thinks I really have there. I guess just he thinks I'm just stone floating. King Jack 10 8. Yeah, I don't really know what he expects me to float. I mean, yeah, whatever. Noted. Don't really have that many floats there, but so here we flop a jack, multi-ways, top pair. We're gonna stab once. We don't really have many good turns other than an ace or a 9. Might as well just try to take it down here. It hits our range pretty well. We are lucky enough to take that down. Yeah, so I don't know what he's thinking. I mean, he doesn't even have ace king, so I mean, I can value bet ace king and king queen on this board as well. So that's pretty loose there. On table 3, all right, so we're getting 3-bet by Painhead here, and then 4-bet. So we will actually have to fold this, but I will watch. So Painhead does fold to the 4-bet. All right, so we know he's pretty opening or 3-betting decently wide on the button. We flop a small flush. I will just bet the minimum here. I want to be able to protect my range when I actually do bet this one check too, so I will bet my flushes on the flop. I flop a middle set here on table 2 on a very dynamic board. I'm actually just going to lead, I think. I think that works pretty well. I'm going to lead for pot. I'm going to 3-bet this hand on table 1. I think my sizing doesn't matter. All draws are going to call anyway, so I can just lead for pot. So here with a SPR of about 2.5, I flop top pair. I'm just going to go ahead and bet go with it first in. About 2.5, so perfectly fine. Bet going with it. I look like a lot of overpairs there. Table, blind versus blind. I will just call with my pair of 10s. After it goes check check on the flop, and I will probably win that hand a lot, and I do. So that's nice. On table 3, we get a nice hand, double suited, double paired hand. I will probably 3-bet this on the button. It's close though, because having to call a 4-bet does suck, but I can push some equity and win a lot of boards. It might be better off as a call on the button versus under the gun range, but it's close. But then hopefully I can take it down on boards like this. Table 2, not the best hand ever to want to call a 3-bet with, but I'm in position on both guys, and can't be too bad. Do have a flush draw, backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. I'm gonna check back here. Try to realize some equity. Table 2, just gonna check and try to get the showdown. Take a little bit of equity with my flush draw. Probably have to just fold to a bet here. Hopefully my king's good. Now he has the 9, so we lose minimum, and I will just fold on this turn, but we'll see what they have. Expect CC to show up with some aces here. Yeah, he's got aces and just has top pair and an open ender. So here we have the nuts and a flush draw, so I will just start with betting into 2 people. Unfortunately, they both fold. I will fold on table 1 with that 3. Basically, when I look at a hand that has 3 to 1 suits, I basically just kind of say I have half a flush draw. You know, it does reduce your chances of making a flush by quite a bit there. So it's like here I just obviously have a great hand. Just go ahead and continuation bet and just hope to have, you know, King Jack 10 gets in there, maybe a set of queens is in there. So this guy just pots, and that's obviously great. We will get it in, hopefully versus 2 queens. If not, then he probably has King Jack 10, and he's got a little bit more equity. He's got a wrap with a pair, but that's a good turn for us. So sorry, bro. Nice playing with you. I'll just limp fold this hand. I don't have much of a limp folding range. I probably have more just like open folds from the small, but there's a few hands I'll limp and fold. This is a hand that I'm actually going to call on the button. I think it plays really well multi-ways. I don't always push equity versus an under the gun raise, so I think it does just fine as a call. Table 1 is close. Oh, sit back in here. I'm going to call. I have a backdoor flush draw. He does pot, so, you know, that kind of sucks when he repots. But I will fold, and I assume they're going to show up with something like one maybe has a wrap and a flush draw, one might have aces with a flush draw, one could have just like a set of kings still, so I'm just going to pause and see the hand. Yeah, top set and aces with a flush draw. So look at me just calling out ranges. But anyway, you know, I make a good fold there. Pretty easy fold, actually. Here with our Queen of Hearts blocker, I'm actually just gonna turn my non-hand into a bluff and hopefully get him to fold his 2 pair type hands, maybe a crappy straight. Table 1, I don't know how much I like this bet, but we gave it a shot. On this turn, defend table 3. This turn, meh. I don't like it. I don't think I have enough. I do have a gutter, which I am lucky enough to hit. So he pots the river. This is gross. I do get there. This is close, because now I'm actually like at the top of my range. After checking back, I look really weak. And I only have 1, 2 of diamonds. This is close. I have top 2 here. I'm just going to call. I'm going to pay it off. Alright, so he does have 8-5, which is fine. I mean, whatever. He was playing on his iPad, which sometimes just makes me think they're weaker players. So here we're getting double barreled by the button. We do have a hand that I slow played on the flop, so I'm just not folding. He's, by betting the turn, he's saying he has 6-8 or 3-6. And I am just going to call down, I believe. I'm kind of at the top of my range. I think he only bets straights like this. And unfortunately, he does have one. On this turn, I'm going to just double barrel here, protect my hand. So I have the ace of spades blocker here. I'm actually going to check, and I can check raise this board sometimes. All right, so we just did have ace 6. Okay, we have 3 aces in the big blind here. But, we'll 3-bet it anyway. We do flop nut flush draw with our aces. So it is a hand that we will be going with. So we do chop. I'm not sure what he went with on the top. What do you have? Just one pair? I think he might have just had one pair and a queen eye flush draw. Oh no, he had an open ender? Yeah, he had an open ender and a flush. Yeah, I mean, he hit the board pretty hard. But we get a chop. Alright, we'll probably play a couple more hands here, then I'll stop this with part 1 and then come back with part 2. I'll fold this in small blind. I will fold this in small blind. I'll also fold the small blind. I will not fold this button on table 1 though. I promise you. Alright, so I'm going to sit out next hand. Sit out next hand. And we will pause. I will 3-bet this button here. You know, for a rundown. Balance some of my board coverage on 3-bets. Obviously, I have the button as well, which is nice. So we flop 2 pair and an open ender, and I think this is just fine to get in. We want to charge him with his flush draws. And we'll sit out next hand. Oh, we got one more hand. All right, we'll fold that one. All right, so that was about 35 minutes of coverage. So I hope that was somewhat not too jumbled or hard to listen to. Just getting used to doing the live play and talking through my play. So I will come back. I think I'll do a second part of this, and hope I can get a little bit quicker and better at playing and talking through these hands, especially with Zoom. It's a quick game. So this is Ryan Welch with Poker X Factor, and I'll be back with part 2 of my live Zoom PLO.